Hello, everyone. I am Alessio Carciofi. I live in a little city in the center of Italy. And 10 years ago, I experienced the burnout. I feel exhausted. I was always connected. I was always performing. I was always connected for the others, but for me, neither. And after, my mind, my body, and my soul decided to, for me, stop it. And so I decided to reach out, to lock myself in a monastery or abbey, or like in Italia, eremo. 1 week only for me. Wow, it was a revolution. But for a long time, for the first time, I listened my body. I listened my breath. Wow. And after, this silence become a new journey for me, for the other, for the people. In this journey, I rediscovered the human support about technology and human. For me, it was an incredible revolution because for the first time, I rediscovered myself. Since then period, I have dedicated a long time to study, to research, and now I am an English university professor, University of Pisa. I teach corporate and digital well-being in other master post-degree, but overall, I help the other to reconnect. For me, it was the critical point because for the first time, for example, 2015 to speak about digital detox. Wow! No, thank you. I'm okay. Also, I am director artistic from Digital Detox Festival the first time with Fernanda, and for me, in this time, I am full of gratitude to Sandro for me and Karen Guggenheim for inviting me. But let me clear. Digital detox for me is not remove technology. No, it's adding humanity, especially in this period of AI generative. And this is a very, very important because the real challenge now for us is not how time spent online, but how much to alive when you stay online. This is very, very important to understand this challenge. So the message I would like to let you now is very, very simple. We don't need to disconnect from technology. We need to reconnect ourselves with other, with the people. And now the revolution is coming. The revolution is human revolution. And I would like to thank you. And I thank you, Fernanda, because together we are director of Digital Detox Festival. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to move here. Sorry. So as Alessio, can you hear me? Yes. As Alessio already said, I've co-organized the first Digital Detox Festival in Italy last June, together with Alessio. But I'm not here to preach about digital ladies. I'm not here to to be off of your phones, but I'm here to talk about renegotiation and to share what it came out after the 3 days of the Digital Detox Festival, where experts across industry leaders, coaches, consultants, therapists gather to understand how the digital world is shaping our life, our habits, and our well-being. I want to ask you, if your phones have 5% of battery, would you run and charge it? Do you do the same when you have 5% on yourself, mentally or physically? Okay, someone. How many does? Just like to hear raise your hand. Okay. And another question. Who slept with their phones within some reach last night? This is not because we all know we're weak, but because the system is created to be the first and the last thing that we touch every single day. So one thing that we find out about the Digital Detox Festival, that we need to keep the tech. Tech is here to stay, but we need to change the terms. Disconnection is not about rejection, but it's about calibration. One thing that we found out after the 3 days of the Digital Detox Festival was about agency. And it was about that we don't need any more hacks, or we don't need to war against digital. But we need to reclaim our agency, and we need to protect some sacred space where attention, time, and presence can breathe. What emerged was also that we have, can you hear me? Sorry. That emerged there also the sacred spaces were mainly 5. One was already mentioned by Professor Formica before. The first is rest. How much of your rest is happening online? How many of you are scrolling and think, I'm gonna have a quick pause while I'm scrolling? We forgot how to rest. Actually, we don't know how to rest. In Italy, we say il dolce far niente. I don't know if you know what it is. Or also, there is a Spanish therapist who call it otiophobia. So just being, without being productive. Because we've been holding exhaustion as a badge of honor. We need to be productive, so we always forget how to rest. Rest is where mind and body can do the maintenance. So if we don't do it, we push ourselves always to the limit. And then we reach the 5% of battery. And then deep work. We brag ourselves to be multitasker, I should better say task switcher. So we forget how to do the deep work. But the great ideas come when we can go into the flow, when we can be in the present moment without being interrupted every 2 minutes. And then relationship. Of course, when our screen are among us, the attention is divided. How many of you are familiar with the terms fabbing? Fabbing is where we ignore someone in front of us because we look at our screens. And how can we have a deeper conversation or intimacy when someone in front of us feels invisible because we look at our screen? Or we feel invisible because someone else is looking at our screen. And the fourth is connection. Connection with ourselves. Oftentimes when we are online, we forget that we have bodies. We forget to read our body's messages, even the basic one. If you think when you are in an hour meeting, sometimes you forget your basic needs, and then you remember as soon as the meeting is done. And this is called interoception, the ability to read our body's messages, but we are slowly losing it. And last but not least is silence. We are scared of silence. We're talking with Alessio how now on the train, some coaches are the silence coaching, and you pay more to have silence. Because silence now is a luxury. But silence is where idea loads. Silence is also where we stop consuming, but we start also wondering, we start creating with our mind. When we can protect this moment, we can win the days. But we need to protect these moments not with rules, but with reasons. But we know that there is no one size fits all when we talk about digital well-being or digital detox, because we have different lives, different bodies, different days. But for us, there is one non-negotiable starting point, which is honesty. about the role that we play in this. Honesty, about asking ourselves, what are we seeking when we reach out to our screens? Honesty about how we trade our sleep, our rest, our relationship for a quick hit of dopamine. And honesty about the role that we play in this bargain. So we need to start from this. And when we start from this, we understand that we can talk about digital well-being. That is not just a weekend, but digital well-being should be a competence, should be a new skill. When we talk about digital well-being, we often been told, so it's like half a day off or a weekend off. But it's not always like this. It's put in practice rituals, habits, and choosing different habits, choosing different rituals to protect those moments and to reshape our identity. Of course, digital detox doesn't change how we live in our digital world, but of course, it helps us to start and it can give us direction. Direction to look after what we really care and what is important for us, because what we protect, it grows. So we need to be aware and honest about ourselves, about our habits, on what we want to protect. So we want to protect our relationship, our silence, our rest. So we need to start new rituals, new habits, and we need to start to train this competence. Because digital detox, as I said, is not just a moment, but it's a competence, it's a strategic competence. Because the future doesn't belong to those who are always connected, but the future belongs to those who are able to disconnect when it's needed, when their mind needs it, when their body needs it. So one thing that I wanted to start for now, if I do have 2 minutes, I know that I said that we don't need more hacks, but I would like you to do just a small act of awareness in this moment. Is, of course, this, as soon as this panel ends, some of you will reach for the phone. And one thing that I would like you to do, every time you're trying to reach to your phone, is to stop and to pause for a second and ask yourself why. And then try to answer to this why. Is it loneliness? Is it habit? Is it boredom? Is it because I feel awkward, like looking at the people? And ask yourself, but why? And try to answer and say, is this? Because when we know the why, we also know our needs. We can name our emotions. We can name our feelings and our needs. And we can name it. When we can name it, we can also tame it. And our tools, go back to be tools, because otherwise they slowly become a master. So of course, sometimes the answer is our phones, absolutely. But sometimes the answer to our need is a person, is a book, is a walk, is silence, is simply staying still, even if we are scared of. So the future, as I say, belongs to the people who are able to train this new competence, this strategic competence, which is digital detox, and being able to understand when we need to disconnect. Thank you.